Good evening and welcome to The Report with me, Chris Bambery. As Mohammed Badie, the spiritual leader of the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood, has been sentenced to 25 years in jail on Monday, our reporter Flamina Jimbalvo takes a look at the crackdown taking place in the group in Egypt and across the world.
An Egyptian court has sentenced Mohammed Badie, the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, and 14 others to 25 years in jail for murder and inciting violence. The session on Monday was intended for witness statements to be heard, but the judge issued a verdict before any statements were heard. The 71-year-old Badie has already been sentenced to life terms in 2 other separate cases. He has also been handed down a death sentence along with 182 others for inciting violence in which 2 policemen were killed last August. The United States, one of Egypt's key international allies, had raised serious concerns in April in regards to the independence of the country's judiciary, but has since not made any further pressure on Sisi's administration.
Egypt's constitution is a positive step forward. It has taken steps, and they are moving now to an election. But even as these positive steps have been taken, we all know there have been disturbing decisions within the judicial process, the court system, that have raised serious challenges for all of us.
Badie was one of thousands of Brotherhood figures and supporters arrested in a deadly crackdown following the army's toppling of former President Mohamed Morsi. Egypt declared the group to be a terrorist organization in December 2013, and several other countries have since followed suit. Saudi Arabia has also officially outlawed the group, and its activists were forced to flee many other of the Gulf states, including Qatar. The UK also launched an investigation into the activities of the Brotherhood's British branch in April this year. The report is expected to be published later this month, but according to an exclusive article published in The Telegraph, the findings of the report will lead to a serious curtailment of the group's activities in the UK. The UK Muslim Brotherhood has rejected any allegation of ties with armed and extremist groups in the Middle East and has described the investigation as an ideological attack. As the Brotherhood's activities are being increasingly restricted not only in Egypt, but in several countries around the world, where will its thousands of supporters turn to? Flamina Jimbalvo, The Report.
In the studio to discuss this, we're joined by Ayman Abouzaid, a Middle Eastern political commentator. Ayman, welcome. Now, Badie's already had 2 life sentences and a death sentence. Obviously, you can't carry out 2 death sentences. Yes. Is this the latest verdict just a symbolic gesture by the Sisi administration?
Even the first one's supposed to be a warning for the Brotherhood and the supporters of the revolution to step back and give in. It didn't work, so let's do another one. Doesn't sound realistic, and the particulars of the court case is absolutely baseless. But the idea is to change the political arena for the Muslim Brotherhood to surrender.
I mean, the Sisi government is carrying out, these are like show trials, right? Something out of Stalin's Russia. Why do they feel the need to do this? Is it intimidation?
I mean, let's put this into context. Mubarak, I think Sisi thinks that Mubarak was a dictator, but he wasn't dictator enough to the extent that people were able to speak out, which led to the revolution later. So he's taking the exact same stance. He's obviously his young student. He's no one from somewhere else, but he's going to be doing it with more of an iron fist to make sure that people don't speak. And that's his attempt and that's his approach.
I mean, the report mentioned John Kerry and the Americans staying silent on this. I mean, if this was taking place in Russia, can you imagine the Americans being silent?
I mean, let's take 2 examples. You've got a square in Ukraine and a square in Cairo. Exactly the same events, but the hypocrisy of the West and the increase in hypocrisy now with the coalition that's increasing all over the world to hit not just the Muslim Brotherhood, but political Islam and any nation that feels that they want to rise up for the sake of revolution. Let's not fool ourselves and say that Sisi or anyone in this worldwide coalition is going to hit ISIS or anything else. They're going to hit those who have struck out and they've said we're not going to tolerate what Maliki has done. Anyone that strikes out in Libya to defend the political legitimacy over there, it's a game.
So the Arab Spring frightened them, you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I can just add,
Yeah.
if you can imagine, in past history, Spain had never allowed Morocco to be a strong state on the other side of the ocean. How about when you've got North Africa containing of Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, and Morocco as well, the Muslim Brotherhood in the government over there becoming political Islam? It's a concern. Plus the coalition between Egypt and Turkey on the other side, which President Morsi was about to develop.
I mean, it's true, they can't seem to be able to stand political Islam, even though the Muslim Brotherhood, when it was actually running under Morsi, it wasn't a radical threat to the West, was it?
Absolutely not. Not just that, but let's listen to the jokes that are happening now and the accusations against the Brotherhood and President Morsi. Things like, for example, that he's given secret intelligence information to Qatar and to Hamas and to other places. Where was Sisi, who was head of the military intelligence, to intercept this or to even speak out? Hypocrisy.
And I just want to turn to the West. I mean, part of this, here we have in Britain the Cameron government saying, and this, Flamina said in the report, this report seems to be going to indicate they're going to find that the Muslim Brotherhood in Britain is a terrorist organisation. I mean, what basis could there be for this?
There is no need for a basis. Is
They're just making it up?
Is it led by interest or is it led by values? It's led, and the whole world can see that many countries in the West, and we're talking about governments, not people, we love the people, we live amongst them, but these hypocrisy governments, they're led by interest. And when they find that there was a new coalition arising called political Islam, arising, this was causing a threat.
I mean, the Americans spent millions of dollars in the Egyptian military.
Yes.
But they may be of use in cracking down their own population. Now they want them to fight ISIS. I mean, the Egyptian military aren't in a position to fight ISIS, are they? The Egyptian military, first, second and third level, have always been under the eyes of the American administration, and the majority of them have been trained, and even Sisi himself, he even studied in America. The idea is that the Egyptian military, many of those who refused the military coup in Egypt, they're in prisons by the thousands. Different ranks, they're all in prison. Now, Sisi knew that he had to do something after this military coup. He was expecting, he promised the world it will finish in a matter of days. It didn't. He had to do something quick to try and get the West on his side. What did he do? He went straight into Gaza, demolishing the tunnels which they eat and drink from, and to close the borders, etc. It's something that pleases America. If it pleases America, then it's going to please the West and Israel. And this is something that pleases Israel. If it pleases Israel, then it's going to have a positive reflection on impact coming from the West and coming from America. And of course, the Israelis will be pleased that they once again have an Egyptian government that's loyal to the agreement they made way back in the 1970s.
Not just that. And just on that note as well, one of the issues that they had with Morsi is he wasn't willing to give in to any of this. The Israeli newspapers now are talking about, we are absolutely amazed that this leader in Egypt, who is acting on our behalf against the interests of the Gazan people and the Palestinian people. So he's more than just an ally.
And what level of discontent do you think there still is in Egypt against the new Sisi administration, military administration?
It's increasing very, very speedily. And amazingly, all the accusations that the media at the time of Morsi were bringing out to demolish his image and to demolish his legitimacy, if you like, and therefore to pave the way for the military coup. All of this is backlashing on him. So the people of Mubarak themselves, who were not happy with the just state, which meant their salaries would go down, etc., at the time of Morsi, working different fields in different ministries, such as electricity, for example, they would actually cut the electricity by orders of Mubarak's people so that they can cause issue amongst people and people can turn against the Morsi government. This is happening now, at this very moment, and we've seen a blackout. Just a couple of weeks ago, almost complete blackout in 10 different cities. So it's all backlashing on him, and people can see that. People can see that there's a wider picture being unfolded, not just in Egypt, but in the whole world. How can America say that they're against the Brotherhood, as they portray, as the Sisi portray, but they're on the side of Sisi? Things aren't matching. People are starting to realise this.
I mean, during the fall of Mubarak, we saw an alliance between the Brotherhood, the major force, but with other groups as well. And that alliance kind of broke down. I mean, it existed for some time before that, from my own experience in Egypt. But are we seeing that re-emerging? The trade union movement, the left and others coming together and solidarising with the Brotherhood at this moment?
Absolutely. One thing the Brotherhood used to say, and this is way in the times of Mubarak, we're talking talking about maybe 20 years ago, is they always used to say that we can't afford to us be the revolutionists on the street. People need to come out and speak, because if we get locked away, or this is what they say, or whatever happens to us, that's fine. We're willing to sacrifice for the country, but we'd like some sort of fruits come out of that. The people need to move. This is exactly what's happening now. The Brotherhood are locked up in jail. They say that they've demolished it, fine. So why are people moving on the streets? It's definitely not the Muslim Brotherhood moving them, but it's the situation in Egypt now.
And we have seen other forms of social discontent, haven't we? Agricultural labourers demanding land, big strikes in some of the major factories which exist there. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for the military to keep down, because the economic situation is fairly dire.
Yes. I mean, there's two parts to this. One, the financial resources are stuck with the military. So, the country is part of the military, not military part of the country. And that's holding back on a lot of resources. You're talking about a lot of economic activity that is stuck just with the military. The second thing, Sisi had to choose between one thing. He had to keep the rich, pro-Mubarak people happy, but and not touch their wealth. And we had the experience of Suwair, a major businessman, who Sisi's people tried to get some money out of him to help the economy that was failing, and he backlashed on them. So Sisi would have to choose these people, but it will be at the expense of the people, and then they'll come out and there'll be another revolution, which I trust there will be. I strongly believe the first one was intifada, the next one is going to be a revolution. Or he's going to have to choose the poor people at the expense of those rich who have the media, and they can demolish him in a moment.
And of course, the Egyptian military are an economic force as well, because they control quite a chunk of the Egyptian economy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're aiming to grab onto a lot more. I mean, one of the latest things is the route between Cairo and Alexandria. The fees that you pay to get into the city. This was going to central government. This is now going to military. So you're starting to. But even just on the point of military as well. The military are also moving away, just like Mohammed Badie, this Western person, once said that the military in Egypt need to move away into the proper activity it's supposed to do, which is fighting terrorism. And that's exactly what they're doing. Have you ever seen a military in the world, a ministry of defense in the whole world, which have factories and make macaroni, for example? This is what their focus is on.
Interesting. And there is a growing war developing in the Sinai Peninsula, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Would you like to describe what's going on there?
Basically, there's two options. Obviously, if you have a wide space like Sinai, for example, which needs developing, you either develop it, which Morsi was willing to do, and the people there know that, or you have the military, which just knock them on the head and tell them to be quiet, not talk about development.
Thank you very much.